At People's Capital Group, we help you invest in real estate. Build your wealth by owning professionally managed apartment buildings in the northern New Jersey market. We want to show you how owning real estate is attainable, even for the busy professionals that don't have the time or experience investing in real estate. Now, we only work with select people who are serious about building wealth. So find out if you qualify at peoplescapitalgroup.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Fragnito, and I'm going to talk about today where to find the most profitable real estate investments. We're going to break into the market we try to focus on, which of course is New Jersey. If you follow us, you know that. We're going to talk about why we focus on that and other markets as well, other high demand markets. But we're also going to cover how to create a good deal, because the best deals are created, not found. What does that mean exactly? We'll break into that. And how to source off-market deals so you avoid bidding wars. Because right now it's a seller's market, and the hardest thing is getting bid out on properties. You want to buy properties that are off-market. How do you find those deals in high-demand markets? So we'll explain how we do that. Also, how to invest in high-demand markets, how to determine if the market will hold value long-term, or is it kind of a shot in the bucket, market right now that's doing great right now, but it's going to ideally tamper out over time and lose steam. So, and also why we focus on these markets. Why do we invest in these high demand, tough to enter markets with lots of red tape and high taxes, and how do we make that work? Okay, so let's break into where to find the most profitable real estate investments. And I'm your host, Aaron Fragnito of the Passive Cash Flow Podcast. By the way, you can go to peoplescapitalgroup.com and learn more about us there and access over 60 podcast episodes and new private offerings from People's Capital Group throughout the year to qualified investors. That's all at peoplescapitalgroup.com. But let's break into our topic today. So the most profitable real estate investments are created, not found, right? So what does that mean? Well, we don't find our deals on the internet. Surprise, surprise. We find our deals through brokers and wholesalers and direct to landlords. We get off-market deals. So what is an off-market deal? Well, that means it's not listed on the multiple listing service or LoopNet or an area that everyone has access to it. We have bought deals that are on the internet. We have bought deals on the MLS. Seth and I have done over 250 transactions together. So there was a time the majority of our deals were found on the internet. And that was a lot easier. Those were easier days. Right now, it's much harder to find a good deal, especially in North Jersey, where we prefer to invest, one of the hottest markets in America. We'll talk about the market in a little more depth shortly. But we really focus on creating good deals, and it takes time to create these deals. We have to have relationships with landlords, relationships with brokers to bring us off-market pocket listings. A pocket listing means it's not on the MLS. A pocket listing means a broker who has a listing that's not being advertised out to a million buyers all over the MLS and a million brokers. So when a commercial broker gets a listing, he or she likes to keep it close to the belt, keep it as a pocket listing, because they know that buyers like us love pocket listings, and sometimes they end up actually going for more than they would on the open market. It's a mind game. So we really focus, though, on buying pocket listings for great prices. We also focus on working with wholesalers. Okay, wholesalers are people that put properties under contract. Maybe they're direct to a seller, they're direct to a landlord. They put it under contract and they assign the contract to us, and they make a fee, a wholesale fee. That's a great way for people to make money and get started in the business. I got started wholesaling. I got started as a realtor. It's a great way for me to start making commissions and fees and getting into the business, learning deals. And but those are two great ways we source off-market deals, and we find deals, and we create deals in this high-demand market. Right? We have these relationships in place. We're going direct to the landlord through these third parties, and these brokers and wholesalers allow us to source these deals without necessarily a ton of buyers knowing about them and bidding on them. The third way we find great deals in high-demand markets like North Jersey here is by going direct to landlords. Okay, it doesn't work right now. We've been doing direct mail marketing for years to warn out landlords, and it did work for years. It doesn't really work right now, but we've developed those relationships, and we've bought properties from these landlords in the past. So when you're in discussion with buying a landlord's property and you're able to execute on that, or even if you're just talking to a landlord about buying their property and showing integrity through the negotiations of it and building rapport, my partner Seth Martinez is great at that. He'll talk to a landlord for years sometimes and develop a relationship with them and build rapport, similar to how I will talk to a potential investor, a private investor that's looking to invest capital with us. We'll talk for years sometimes, get to know each other. They'll follow us. They'll watch us cycle through some deals and fully fund some opportunities. And I get that. I understand that. You want to watch the company grow and join in when you're comfortable with it. So a lot of landlords look at us the same way. They talk with us for a while. They kind of dance around the idea of selling us the property, and eventually they see we do business with integrity, we have the means to close quickly, and we're the right buyer for the property. But that means we need to have it at a reasonable price. So, of course, it's all about making your money when you buy in real estate and not overpaying for the property, getting the property at a good price. So we're direct to the landlords. That's the third way we get great deals, and that allows us to avoid brokers, avoid putting it on the MLS, avoid paying any wholesale fees as well, and get even a better price on the property. So that is the primary reason people like investing with us as well. It's really hard to find a good deal in North Jersey. In fact, that's probably the hardest part of our job. Once we find a good deal, the funding comes pretty quickly. Once we have the property, we have a management company that we oversee and work with our contractors and property managers to renovate and reposition the building. But that's just going through the motions of our business and making sure our team works properly on the project, and that's our job. But the hardest part, the most unpredictable part of this business of syndicating real estate opportunities in high demand markets is finding a good deal. I can't tell you if I'm going to find our next great deal tomorrow or 6 months from now. The last thing I want to do is jump on a deal that doesn't work or stretch numbers that aren't going to make sense on a spreadsheet. Well, they're definitely not going to make sense in real life then. So you never want to stretch a deal that's not a winner and try to make it into one. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So we spend so much time. We'll look at hundreds of opportunities. To find one good opportunity, we'll create multiple levels of due diligence, environmental, financial, legal, title, just value research as well, and really try to determine if it's a good investment, what red flags there might be, problems that we're possibly looking at running into with the renovation and the repositioning of the property, and just trying to predict what headaches we're going to have with the project in total, and if it is a good investment, if we should move forward on the investment, if the numbers make sense for our investment group. So there's multiple levels of due diligence, and this due diligence has to be done right. So when you're creating a deal, a lot of times you'll look at a deal on the surface, it won't look very good. Maybe it has a low cap rate. Maybe the expenses are equal to the income. It's not even making any positive income. Maybe the rents are way below market value. Maybe the thing's falling apart, needs a ton of work. So these are all value add opportunities. And what we're looking for is value add. Right? We're not really necessarily looking for the cheapest property, right? Or the best property, or, the highest, the best location necessarily, right? We want to focus on all those good locations. You want to be near a train station, right? Desirable cities, high demand markets, but we're really looking for value add opportunity. Right, for example, we're buying a 27 unit in Rahway, New Jersey right now, and the rents are 30% below market value. That means before we do any renovations, we feel the market value of those rents is really low. Once we do our renovations, we can get that market value up 30% plus that, ideally, and that allows us to make a really nice return for our investors. And that's the name of the game in repositioning, is finding mismanaged properties where the rents are way below market value. Yes, they need some physical renovation. Yes, they need some improvements. Some properties more than others. On this one, for example, we're doing a pretty large renovation, a $330,000 renovation plan, but that's because there's lots of value add opportunity with this property. Okay, and that allows us to make better returns for our investors. So when you're looking at creating a deal, when you're looking at finding a great deal, when you're looking at finding the best market to invest in, don't just look at demographics and macroeconomic numbers, but look at the microeconomics of the deal and look at the value add and look how realistic the value add is. How much of a heavy lift is it going to be? Do you need a lot of permits or zoning changes, or do you need bureaucrats to agree with your changes, or is it more like lipstick on a pig, cosmetic improvements that are easily done without bureaucrats getting in the way? So you want to recognize the challenge of the project, the complexity of it, the demand of the market there. All these things play into, is the deal a good deal? Is there value add to the opportunity? Is it something that you can buy as a zero and make it into a hero? And that's our goal whenever we're buying a mismanaged apartment building. So it's really an art. It's not a science. There is numbers, there's mathematics, there's really in-depth spreadsheets behind it all. But at the end of the day, when we decide to buy a building, we're looking at the potential of the value add. The potential value add there, the possibility to take something that's mismanaged and needs repairs and make it into a nice producing asset for our investor group. So that brings me to my third reason here, a third way to where to find the most profitable real estate investments here. Navigating the red tape, avoiding competition, right? So the hardest thing about investing in a high demand market is red tape often and competitors. Right? So these high demand markets, we know where they are. There's tons of high demand markets. The North Jersey market is one of them. It's a market we really like to invest in. And one of the challenges with that is all the competitors. So as I was explaining before, we like to get off-market deals through brokers and wholesalers. That's properties that are not listed on the internet. We also like to go direct to landlords. We also like to find deals that maybe don't look like deals off the bat, but have value add so we can find out they are actually deals. They're good deals for us. So that's creating a deal there as well. And this allows us to avoid our competitors. Maybe the competitors didn't see value in the deal because the numbers didn't make sense on the surface, but we'll dig deeper and the numbers do make sense through value add. And then, of course, red tape. I mean, it's so confusing. Rent control in New Jersey. Rent control can literally change from one town to the other, and it does. Two towns can be right next to each other, very similar in every single way, except the rent control can be completely different. The process of how many inspections you have to have between getting a property vacant to leased. I know in Patterson, there's 3 different inspectors that need to come to your property, inspect it, and approve it. So you really need to know what you're doing, how to pass those inspectors, how to be friendly with those inspectors, because you better bet it's a lot about who they like. Unfortunately, that's what side of the bed they wake up on. So you got to know these people that you're working with. You have to get them to like you as well, to trust you as a business owner, as a contractor, as someone that's renovating and owning and being a landlord of the building. And also pass those inspections quickly and effectively, getting the work done the right way. Know what the code is for getting those units up to code properly and quickly. And that's one way to really work in these high demand markets where a lot of people are having trouble navigating the red tape and avoiding competitors. The other thing we look for is train stations and large population growth in an area. So North Jersey is great for that. We buy within, property we're buying right now is 2 blocks from a train station that gets you into Manhattan in 45 minutes. Manhattan is one of the most desirable cities in the world. I know the pandemic has really hit it hard, but we do believe Manhattan still has its value and there's still a demand to go in and out and live around Manhattan. A lot of people these days are going into the city maybe twice a week or something like that. So living in North Jersey now, living an hour and a half from the city or an hour from the city makes sense all of a sudden. Now you're going into the office twice a week. Well, it makes sense to live maybe an hour commute into the city or 45 minutes commute in. So we're buying a property 2 blocks to the train station, large population, good jobs. New Jersey has a ton of technology jobs, Fortune 500 companies as well. Good, high-paying jobs here. We're well-educated. We have a strong workforce. There's a lot of big Fortune 500 companies, big companies that are here, small companies as well. But tons of job opportunities in New Jersey, tons of high-paying opportunities, and tons of highly educated workers to fill those jobs. So a hustling and bustling economy here that works off the Manhattan market. That's what I love about New Jersey. This isn't the only market that works off a hustling, bustling market. You have, Los Angeles, you have Dallas, you have all these hot markets that, you want to maybe recognize the sub-markets around them. And that's another quick tip here. Sub-markets are great for buying and for value add. You don't necessarily want to buy in the hottest market on the cover of CNBC. You want to buy around that market. You don't want to buy necessarily where everyone's bidding and everyone's buying. You want to buy around those markets that people are going to tend to move out to when home values increase too much in those areas, or they get overpopulated and crime grows as well. So we look for that long-term growth. We look for that recession resilience by investing in high demand markets within an hour of Manhattan that allow you to commute into arguably the greatest city in the world in less than an hour. We understand there's high taxes, there's red tape, but that's all proportionate to the rent we're collecting as well. right? So people say, well, how do you invest in North Jersey where the price is high to get in, and the taxes are high, and the cost of service providers is high, and everything else? Well, the bottom line is it's all relative to the rent we're collecting. It's all proportionate. Rent is very high as well, right? If you've tried to rent recently in North Jersey, it's high. It's expensive. North Jersey is not an affordable place to live. It's an expensive place to live. And the rent is high, especially in a lot of the markets we're focusing on. So it's all relative. The costs are relative to the rent, as long as your numbers make sense on the investment and it shows that there is good value add long term. There is good potential growth down the road with the equity side of the investment, and the property produces positive cash flow on a consistent basis. Then it may be a good investment opportunity. But of course, watch out, because if it is a good investment opportunity and it is on the internet, then it's going to get bid up quite aggressively right now. If it is on the internet and it's not getting bid up, then there might be something wrong with it, and there probably is a reason why it's sitting there not being bought. So it's a high demand market right now. It's a seller's phase too. So when you're looking for the most profitable real estate investments, where are they? Well, they're in submarkets generally around high demand markets like North Jersey. North Jersey is a submarket of New York City. It plays off that New York City market. It's also a high demand market in itself. And we've navigated the red tape and the high taxes. It all makes sense because the rent is so high and the numbers do make sense. And we look for those value add opportunities. As I was saying, it's not necessarily a science. It's really an art to find the most profitable real estate investments and where they are. So unfortunately, there's not a silver bullet to finding where are the most profitable real estate investments. It is about creating the opportunity. It's about understanding it takes patience to own and create wealth in real estate. But if you team up with the right operators that are looking through hundreds of bad deals to bring you one great opportunity on a silver platter with the due diligence completed and multiple levels of research completed, so that our investors know that we're bringing them a well-vetted investment opportunity, then you want to team up with those types of operators. You want to find them. There are many real estate syndicators out there. People's Capital Group is a real estate syndicate that I own and operate with my business partner, Seth Martinez. We're out of Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. We manage all of our properties in-house. We work with over 50 investors. 9 out of 10 of them reinvest over time. And we really focus on investing in the North Jersey market, managing everything to a T, and creating long-term wealth and cash flow for our investor group. So if that sounds like something you want to learn more about, go to peoplescapitalgroup.com. Take a look at more of our podcast episodes. Take a look at our private offerings out there and fill out an application form to get qualified to get on our investor list. And you can start to review private offerings from People's Capital Group in the future. I hope you enjoyed our topic today, where to find the most profitable real estate investments. And again, for more information, go to peoplescapitalgroup.com. Keep following us. Have a good day.